Russia invading Ukraine. At home, before we left, there were always sounds of shooting in the background, said a woman in Ukraine. Blackouts for days. All these things are part of daily life in Ukraine. Ukrainian soldiers and people are putting up a good fight, but still these things are happening. We are your hosts, Otis
in Georgia.
And we are here to answer the question, what is daily life like in Ukraine? How are people in Ukraine preparing in case of a blackout or bombing?
One article states that a lot of children are bringing flashlights with them to school in case it gets dark and the streetlights aren't on. Now, that's just one way that people are preparing for blackouts, but let's get into ways that people are preparing for being bombed. Some of the ways that Ukrainian people are preparing for being bombed is sleeping far away from windows in case glass shattering, and charging their phones overnight so that they'll be able to call for help if needed.
Are the Ukrainian people being able to see their friends and family during this war?
This question has different answers for different places in Ukraine, but if people are living somewhere where Russia hasn't invaded, like Kyiv, then yes, people are living somewhat normal lives. But this is a whole different story if they live somewhere that Russia has invaded. In the places that Russia has invaded, some people have died and some have been sent somewhere else as refugees. So it really comes down to the person whether they have been separated from their family and friends or if they have been able to stay with them.
Moving on from that topic, what are living conditions like for Ukrainian residents?
For Ukrainians, the living conditions are different depending on where you are in Ukraine. But for the places that have been invaded, living conditions are not very good, such as living in basements, bunkers, shelters, or even homeless. But if living in a place that hasn't been invaded, living conditions may be a bit better, such as living in your house, but some people still choose to live in bunkers or basements for safety, just in case they get bombed or invaded. The last place is safer, but not always happier. This is people being displaced from their home and being sent to another country as a refugee. And yes, this is the safest option, but this can separate families and cause people to miss their home greatly.
How are the Ukrainian soldiers' mental health?
Ukrainian soldiers' mental health is so bad that they are being put into psychiatric care hospitals.
Why are these soldiers' mental health so bad?
Their mental health is very bad because they've been traumatized by things they've seen or experienced, like having to stay alone at night, waiting for someone to rescue them while everyone else around them is dead. This is only one of the many traumatizing things they have experienced.
What are these living conditions like inside the psychiatric hospitals?
The living conditions in the hospitals are obviously safe, but they are also equivalent to a nursing home in the US, except there are no door handles so the soldiers can't escape.
Wow, I would have never thought that. But I do have one final question. What do the soldiers in the hospitals wear?
The soldiers inside the psychiatric care hospitals wear their uniforms mostly, but they're not allowed to wear their boots inside for safety reasons.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of Daily Life in Ukraine.